Sri Bhakti Ratnakara, Chapter 8, continued. Narottam in Kadadaha. Departing from Saptagram, Narottam Das walked along the shore of the Ganges. As he walked, he visited the homes of the devotees. I cannot describe what Narottam Mahasaya experienced when he entered Kadadaha. Lord Nityananda fulfilled Narottam Das's desires. By Lord Nityananda's will, Narottam Das became peaceful. As he went to see Lord Nityananda's house, Narottam Das met Lord Nityananda's personal associates. These devotees took Narottam Das to Lord Nityananda's house and informed the mistress of the house of his arrival. Sri Vasudha and Sri Janava were sitting with Virabhadra Prabhu, talking about Lord Nityananda's pastimes. Even though they were filled with sorrow, when they heard that Narottam had come, they became joyful at heart. In the inner rooms, Narottam Das approached and offered respectful obeisances at their lotus feet. I have no power to describe the mercy that Vasudha Devi and Janava Devi, who know all truths, bestowed upon Narottam Das. For 2 or 4 days they kept Narottam Das with them. Together they passed the days and nights, tasting the nectar of talking about Lord Krishna. Filled with ecstatic love, they said to Narottam Das, "Is it right that you have the title Mahasaya, Great Soul?" After speaking many words among themselves, they told Narottam Das that he should continue his journey to Nilachal. I do not know how to describe Sri Janava's condition at the time of Narottam's departure. A river of tears flowed from her eyes. I cannot describe how Sri Virabhadra, speaking very sweet words, bid farewell to Narottam Das. Parameshwar Das described the path that Narottam Das should follow. With great affection, Mahesh Pandit and other devotees bid farewell to Narottam Das. They could not be peaceful. Falling to the ground, Narottam Das offered respectful obeisances to everyone. With a sorrowful heart, he departed from Kadadaha. Traveling along the path, when he encountered a devotee's home, he stopped for a visit. Quickly he arrived at Kanakula Krishna Nagara. There he offered respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of Sri Abhiram Thakur. Overcome by feelings of separation from Lord Nityananda, Sri Abhiram Thakur was not in external consciousness. His wife Sri Malini had no peer. Abhiram and Malini bestowed great mercy upon Narottam Das. They then commanded him to quickly proceed on his journey to Nilachal. By seeing Sri Abhiram's condition, Narottam Das became very saddened. Tears flowed from his eyes. But by seeing Sri Abhiram's service to his deity, Lord Gopinath, Narottam Das felt his heart overflow with bliss. I cannot describe how Narottam Das bid farewell to Abhiram. Narottam in Nilachal. Wherever he went, Narottam Das met many devotees and associates of the Lord. While remembering the devotees' glories, he shed countless tears. After very few days, Narottam Das arrived at Nilachal. Gopinath Acharya and the other devotees watched for Narottam Das's arrival. The Lord had already commanded them to pacify Narottam Das when he would come to Nilachal. Who has the power to describe the desires in the hearts of the Lord's dear personal associates? Gopinath Acharya said to Kanai Kutiya, "I hope I will see Narottam soon. That desire fills my heart. By the Lord's will, I will see Narottam today or after many days. That is my opinion." Kanai Kutiya said, "From the mouths of so many people, I have heard that Narottam has departed from Navadvip and is on his way to Nilachal. I know that he will not delay. Who has the power to understand his activities?" Siki Mahidi and other devotees said to Gopinath, "Now is the time to see Sri Jagannath." After hearing this, Gopinath Acharya and his dear associates went to see Lord Jagannath. Amongst themselves they talked of Narottam Das. They talked of how the Lord had attracted Narottam at Ramakeli. They talked and talked of how the Lord bestowed his mercy upon Narottam. In this way they walked on the path to the Singadwar at Lord Jagannath's abode. In separation from the Lord, Gopinathacharya had become very thin. Although his body was emaciated, he was effulgent like the sun. What shall I say? He was like mercy personified, and anyone who saw him, even once, floated into tears from his eyes. Staying far away, Narottam Das watched them. A flood of tears flowed from his eyes. His heart was restless. He thought, they must be the personal associates of the Lord. From a certain Brahmana, he then learned who they are. At the Singadwar, one devotee said to another, "Today Narottam will come. This thought stays in my heart." As they were speaking auspicious words, everyone saw Narottam. Narottam's body was filled with devotion. A flood of tears always flowed from his large eyes. How wonderful was his spiritual love! With an unsteady heart, he fell to the ground and offered respectful obeisances to the personal associates of the Lord. Filled with ecstatic love, everyone embraced Narottam Das. They soaked his body with tears from their eyes. Although they were always burnt by the flames of terrible suffering, every person there felt that bliss now had taken birth in his heart. Very mercifully, taking Narottam Das with them, they all went to see Lord Jagannath. His heart unsteady in ecstatic love, Narottam Das gazed at the glory of Lord Jagannath and Lord Baladev. Jagannath's glorious dark form defeated a host of monsoon clouds and an abundance of black eye ointment. Baladev's glorious white form defeated jasmine flowers and silver. The moons of their faces filled the three worlds with light. Their graceful lotus eyes enchanted all the worlds, and their arms were broad, charming, and graceful. They were elegantly decorated with glistening ornaments. In the middle of the two lords was Subhadra. Lord Jagannath was glorious with his Sudarshana chakra. With unblinking eyes, Narottam Das gazed at the deities. He became unsteady in ecstatic love. Who could not keep his heart in a peaceful condition? He could not keep his heart in a peaceful condition. Upon seeing Narottam Das's wonderful condition, the personal associates of the Lord were astonished. They could not check their tears. Gopinathacharya made Narottam peaceful once again. A Bajari of Lord Jagannath then gave Narottam Das one of the deity's garlands. Taking Narottam with him, Gopinathacharya slowly departed from the temple and returned home. The Lord's personal associates at Nilachal soon heard that Narottam Das had come. Although at every moment they were being burned by the flames of terrible sorrow, they all became happy at heart. Gopinathacharya introduced Narottam to all the devotees. He entrusted Narottam to the care of Jagannath Vipra. Jagannath Vipra took Narottam Das to see all the devotees. I cannot describe how Narottam Das met all the personal associates of the Lord. Who can describe how Narottam lamented when he saw Haridas Thakur's samadhi? Very saddened, Narottam Das next went to visit Gadadhar Pandit Goswami's residence. Falling to the ground, he offered his obeisances to Gadadhar Pandit. Upon seeing the condition of Gadadhar Pandit's dear associates, Narottam Das wept, tears streaming from his eyes. Upon seeing Narottam, Sri Manu Goswami became restless and embraced him. He soaked Narottam Das with tears. Again and again he said, "By the Lord's will I now see you." From the Vaishnavas coming and going, he heard all about you. I yearn to see you, and now my desire is fulfilled. After saying this, he took Narottam's hand, led him to a secluded place, and gently said, "O Narottam, when I see the deity Tota Gopinath, I always weep. I cannot restrain myself. Look at this beautiful place in the midst of a garden. Fortunate persons saw blissful pastimes in this place. My master, Gadadhar Pandit, would sit here, and his heart, overcome with spiritual emotions, read from Srimad Bhagavatam and eloquently explained the verses. Many rivers of the bliss of spiritual love would flow from his explanations. Who did not yearn to hear his explanations? Anyone who heard them, even once, would never forget them. Lord Gaurahari, the master of Gadadhar Pandit's life, would sit beside him and listen to his sweet explanations. At this place, Lord Nityananda Roy would sit, and in this place, Lord Advaitacharya would sit. Here would sit Sri Sarup Damodar, Virkeshwar, Sri Murari Gupta, and Gadadhar Das. Here would sit Sri Mukunda and Narahari. As if with a single pair of eyes, they all gazed at Gadadhar Goswami's face. Rai Ramananda and many other personal associates of the Lord would also sit in this place. They were all effulgent like the sun. Who has the power to describe the splendor of Lord Gaurasundara's personal associates? Gazing at them, even demigods became embarrassed. At the time of Rath Yatra, they all enjoyed pastimes here. Thinking of them, I feel my heart break. O Narottam, in this secluded place, many times Gadadhar Goswami would talk with Gadadhar Das. I have no power to describe the words Gadadhar Goswami affectionately spoke to Kandavasi Narahari in this place. Taking Damodar to this place, Gadadhar Goswami described the thoughts that stayed in his heart. At the time when the deity was served, Lord Gaurachandra would come here and stand before the Gopinath deity. Gazing at the deity, Lord Gaurachandra again and again praised the garments and decorations. How can anyone know what Lord Gaurachandra thought in his heart as he spoke these words? Gadadhar Goswami had only two duties, to serve the deity Gopinath and to reside at Sri Kshetra. He had no other duty. Thinking Sri Gaurasundar will always stay in Nilachal, Gadadhar Goswami vowed to stay here always. To leave the Lord's association was unbearable for him. When Lord Gauranga departed from Sri Kshetra to visit other places, Gadadhar Goswami turned away from his vow and followed the Lord. Sri Gaurasundar repeatedly forbade him, but Ratnavadi's son, Gadadhar, only became more and more agitated. O Narottam, how many pastimes did Gadadhar Goswami enjoy at this place? In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 16, 130-43, it is said, when Gadadhar Pandit started to go with the Lord, he was forbidden to come and was asked not to give up the vow of Chaitra Sannyasi. When he was requested to return to Jagannath Puri, Gadadhar Pandit told the Lord, wherever you are staying is Jagannath Puri. Let my so-called Chaitra Sannyas go to hell. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Gadadhar Pandit to remain at Jagannath Puri and engage in Gopinath service, Gadadhar Pandit replied, one renders service to Gopinath millions of times simply by seeing your lotus feet. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, if you abandon his service, it will be my fault. It's better that you remain here and render service. That will be my satisfaction. The Pandit replied, do not worry. All the faults will be on my head. I shall not accompany you, but shall go alone. I shall go to see Sachimata. I shall not go for your sake. I shall be responsible for abandoning my vow and service to Gopinath. Thus Gadadhar Pandit Goswami traveled alone, and when they all arrived at Katak, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called him, and he went in the Lord's company. No one can understand the loving intimacy between Gadadhar Pandit and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gadadhar Pandit gave up his vow and service to Gopinath just as one gives up a piece of straw. Gadadhar Pandit's behavior was very pleasing to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart. Nevertheless, the Lord took his hand and spoke to him, displaying the anger of love. You have abandoned Gopinath's service and broken your vow to live in Puri. All that is complete because you've come so far. Your wanting to see me is simply a desire for sense gratification. In this way, you are breaking two religious principles, and because of this, I am very unhappy. If you want my happiness, please return to Nilachal. You will simply condemn me if you say any more about this matter. Saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got into a boat, and Gadadhar Pandit immediately fell down in an unconscious state. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to take Gadadhar Pandit with him. The Bhattacharya told Gadadhar Pandit, "Get up." Such are the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Seeing these wonderful activities, the Lord's personal associates were surprised. On Lord Chaitanya's command, Sarvabhauma and the other devotees consoled Gadadhar and brought him home. As long as Lord Gaurachandra had not returned to Sri Chaitra, Gadadhar suffered greatly. Everywhere the truth became manifest, the truth that Gadadhar Pandit was most qualified, was the king of the Brahmanas, and was the noble and generous king of sannyasis. In Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami's diary it is said, when Lord Gaura descended to this world, Sri Radha became Gadadhar Pandit, who is the king of the Brahmanas and the sannyasis. That's the final opinion of Narahari Sarkar, of many dear devotees of the Lord, and also of me, Swarup Damodar. Sri Manu Goswami continued, O Narottam, what shall I say to describe Gadadhar Pandit's glories? Lord Chaitanya was the master of his life. This is known everywhere. Gadadhar Pandit could not tolerate separation from Lord Gauranga. He always swam in the ocean of bliss while gazing at Lord Gaura. When accompanied by his dear associates, Lord Chaitanya returned from Vrindavan. Gadadhar Pandit gazed at the Lord's face and at once fell unconscious, overcome with the ecstasy of spiritual love. The fortunate devotees saw all these blissful pastimes. O Narottam, there is no end to the description of these pastimes. Coming here from Gaudadesh, Lord Nityananda stood here and gazed at the deity of the Gopinath. Happily, Lord Nityananda met Gadadhar Pandit. All who saw them were fortunate. This is known everywhere. In Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Antya 7:116-25, it is said, seeing this deity, a threefold bending deity that holds a flute to his mouth, Lord Nityananda shed tears of joy, tears that had no end. Learning that Lord Nityananda had come, Gadadhar stopped reading Srimad Bhagavatam and at once went to him. They gazed at each other's face, grasping each other's neck, they wept. They offered obeisances to and glorified each other. They both said, now my eyes are purified, now my life has become successful. External consciousness was no longer present in the body of the two. They floated in an ocean of bliss and love. Seeing this display of great love and devotion, the devotees in the four directions fell to the ground and wept. How wonderful was the love Lord Nityananda and Gadadhar felt. They did not say anything but words of love and devotion. Gadadhar Pandit had no desire to see the face of anyone who criticized Lord Nityananda. Indeed, he would not look at the face of anyone who did not love Lord Nityananda. Sri Manu Goswami continued, O Narottam, when I remember the meeting of these two, my life breath weeps. Peacefully sitting together for a long time, Lord Nityananda and Gadadhar Pandit glorify Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Gadadhar Pandit Goswami invited Lord Nityananda, saying, today take your meal here. From Gaudadesh, Lord Nityananda had brought, as a gift for Gadadhar, a sack of 80 pounds of rice. Lord Nityananda thought, I don't know what else to bring. Aloud, Lord Nityananda said, O Pandit, please offer this rice to Lord Gopinath and then eat the remnants of this meal. In this way, Lord Nityananda gave the rice to Sri Gadadhar Pandit. Seeing the rice, Gadadhar Pandit Goswami praised it many times. Sri Gadadhar Pandit cooked some of the rice and also cooked shak and spicy vegetables. Quickly he prepared a sauce of tamarind leaves. The sweet fragrance of these foods filled the garden cottage. In this way, he placed the offering before the deity Gopinath. Then Lord Gauranga, who was present in every heart, suddenly came there. Smiling, he said, you two are trying to conceal what you have done. I am entitled to a share of this meal. This you do not know. Never have I been a person different from you two. Therefore, I wish to tell you that what you are doing is a little improper. Upon hearing these words, Sri Gadadhar Pandit very joyfully placed the prasad meal before Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya then said, "Dividing this offering into 3 equal parts, we shall sit together and eat this food." After speaking these words, he quickly dividing the food into 3 parts, Lord Gaurahari sat down to eat. On his right was Sri Nityananda, and on his left, Sri Gadadhar Pandit. Meditating on their splendor, my heart feels it will no longer remain conscious. Gently smiling and praising the shak and tamarind sauce, Lord Gaurachandra ate. With a joyful heart, Lord Nityananda ate. Gently smiling, he glanced at Gadadhar Goswami. With great bliss, Gadadhar Pandit Goswami ate. I cannot describe the end of the blissful pastimes that took their birth on that occasion. After rinsing their mouths, the 3 lords sat down. Meditating on all these pastimes, I feel my heart is breaking. O Narottam, look. Here in this secluded place is Gadadhar Goswami's old and tattered asan. In this place, Lord Gaurahari, who is Gadadhar Goswami's very life, would sit on that asan. As he relished the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, tears would fall from the Lord's eyes and wet the books. Look, the place where the Lord enjoyed these pastimes is before your eyes. I have no power to describe all the pastimes Lord Gaurahari and Gadadhar Goswami enjoyed in this garden cottage. O Narottam, what did Lord Gaurahari gently say to Gadadhar Pandit in this place? I do not know. From their eyes a flood of tears flowed. Seeing them, even men whose hearts were like stone melted. Who has the power to understand the actions of Lord Chaitanya, the crest jewel of sannyasis? Suddenly, the earth was covered with blinding darkness. Lord Chaitanya entered Lord Gopinath's temple. There he disappeared. He did not come out. Even if I had 100,000 mouths, I could not describe the devotee's condition when Lord Chaitanya disappeared from this world. In this place, Gadadhar Goswami fell unconscious. All the great devotees wept. I cannot describe how Lord Gaura, who loves the devotees like a father and who has the jewels of all virtues, comforted the devotees. Lord Gaura gave this command to Gadadhar Goswami. A Brahmana's son named Srinivas suffers very greatly. Walking on the path, he heard of my disappearance. Then he decided to give up his life. At that time, I gave him comfort. He will approach you. Your mercy will protect him. You know everything. What more shall I say? By my wish, he will stay with you for some days. After speaking these words, Lord Gaurahari made Gadadhar Pandit peaceful again.